fight tonight.
What's going on, everybody? This video is going to be over the second boss of Veteran Kind's Aegis on hard mode. The previous video we did the first boss, now this is the second boss. Again, keep in mind that I do solo tank this normally, so I will be going over this as if we had two tanks there, since the majority of people will have two tanks. I think it's a little bit beneficial to have one tank here so you can have maximum damage, but it's totally up to you and your group. So let's go ahead and jump right into the video. VROL is the main boss, Captain VROL. I guess that's how you say it. He has about 64 million health on non-hard mode, 80 million health on hard mode, and VROL has about 4 to 5 ads that he spawns to help him. So what we'll do is we'll talk about each individual ad again, like we did in the last video. We'll keep it slowed down, so hopefully this will help you see some of the mechanics coming out and how to deal with them. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about the first set of ads that spawn and kind of just that whole mess, because it's just like one thing happens and then just like 2 to 3 other things happen. So that's what we're going to discuss right now. So what'll happen shortly after you taunt, Captain VROL is going to spawn a Conjurer. He's going to say something like, hey, I need some help because I suck. Come help me out. What he's going to do is he'll spawn a Conjurer on the boat. The Conjurer on the boat will then summon a portal on the island where your group is at. The portal will spawn and then 3 additional ads will pop up. What needs to happen is one DPS needs to go and take that portal. As soon as it pops up, that portal will take that DPS to the boat, and one person can solo the Conjurer. Basically, you go over there, you have a shield or something like that to kind of give you like a little bit of self heal, and you just DPS that Conjurer down. Pretty easy. If you've done Maelstrom before, it's pretty easy. So you just go over there, you kick his butt, and then you'll get sent back over to the island, and then you'll continue to DPS. Now, again, once the portal appears, 3 ads will spawn around the portal. You'll have the Bulwark, you'll have a Mage, and then you'll have a Harpooner. These ads spawn around the portals, and once they do, the off-tank needs to grab them almost immediately. What the off-tank needs to do is grab the Harpooner first. So if you pay attention to the video, which you should, because it's slowed down ridiculously slow, so that you can see which ads I'm grabbing and how, and where they spawn at. So the off-tank will grab the Harpooner immediately and then the Bulwark. And the reason why is because the Harpooner will dodge roll backwards roughly about 3 seconds from spawning and then attempt to throw a harpoon or a javelin at one of your players. So if you taunt the Harpooner first, the Harpooner will dodge roll backwards and then attempt to throw the javelin or harpoon at the off-tank. So you'll be good there. Next, you want to grab the Bulwark and face the Bulwark away from the group. The reason why is because the Bulwark will do a cone attack, which you've seen in the previous ad pulls, and that will pretty much one-shot the DPS if they do not hold block and they're not topped off. So pay very close attention to that as the off-tank. Alright, so now let's go over the main boss, Captain VROL, or Roll, or Vol, or whatever the hell his name is, right? He has a few mechanics we need to go over. First mechanic, what he'll do is a heavy attack. You can either dodge roll this or just hold block and get hit by it. It's totally up to you. It doesn't matter. Just make sure that you have a decent amount of health. Shortly after this heavy attack, you will call for help and summon the Conjurer on the boat, which will spawn the portal and then the 3 ads we talked about before. The next main mechanic you will do is throw a Frigid Fog on you. Now this fog is a giant AoE. It's roughly about 8 to 10 meters or so, and it'll be at your target location. So if you see this pop up where it says Frigid Fog, dodge roll backwards, you may be able to place it further away from the boss, so you don't have to move them as much. Anyways, that Frigid or the fog will spawn at your target location. It'll CC you and do some damage, right? If VROL is in the fog AoE, he will constantly have a shield up and it'll be almost impossible to DPS through it. So just move him out of that as quickly as possible. I also like to use immovable pots for this fight, specifically for the fog. So when the portal spawns, wait a few seconds, then take an immovable pot and you should be good to go, because shortly after, that's when he throws down the fog. Next, what will happen is every 40 seconds, VROL will throw a harpoon to the furthest player. And I say roughly about 40 seconds because there have been times where he's thrown in at like 45, 50 seconds. It just kind of depends on what mechanic he's doing at the time. Just keep in mind that roughly about every 40 seconds, he will do this mechanic. Throw a harpoon, and the harpoon needs to be DPS down as quick as possible. What will happen is the harpoon will land on the furthest player, saying landed on J-Dub or whoever, and then it will attach to that player and constantly deal damage. So it needs to be destroyed as quickly as possible. At 50%, things change a little. The Conjurer stops spawning, and then VROL starts spawning fire mages on the boat. The fire mages will only spawn meteors on your group every few seconds. So what you can do is send a DPS to use the siege to kill the adds on the boat. So send 2 DPS per siege and kill those adds. I think it takes roughly about 2 to 3 trips. Can't remember. I think it's 2, might be 3. Or you guys can just stay on VROL, just DPSing in him, and when the meteors come, just hold block right before it hits, so that way you don't take that much damage. Make sure that you do not have more than 2 meteors on each other, or else it will kill you. I think the best way to do it is probably, if you're progressing this, send 2 DPS to kill the fire mages on the boat. I think that might be the safe bet for most people. If you have enough damage, just DPS through it, hold block when the meteors come. At about 40%, VROL will spawn a Storm Twin, is what it's called. The Storm Twin will have a few mechanics that we need to go over as well. He'll heavy attack you. And after that heavy attack, whether you block it or dodge roll it, he will do a charge up attack, which you as the main tank or off tank needs to bash. If you don't bash, what he'll do is he'll send a giant AoE into whatever location it's at. So wherever you're facing or wherever you're at as the main tank, the AoE will go towards your direction or a random player's direction. And what it'll do is it'll do quite a bit of damage, and it'll knock players in the air, I believe. I can't remember if it knocks you down or not. I only let it do it once, and so I can't 100% remember. So other than that, that's pretty much it. Those are pretty much the mechanics for this fight. It's actually pretty easy. Everything above 50% mechanics, it's pretty much all the same. Spawn portals, kill the adds, vice versa. It's all the same. Everything under 50% is the same. Adds stop spawning. The only adds that do spawn are the fire mages on the boat. Kill them. Kill the boss. Kill the add that spawns. The Storm Twin, if you want to, should be able to cleave it down. But if you don't kill the Storm Twin down, another one will eventually spawn. So just make sure that you do have good cleave on it. Other than that, yeah, hope this video helps you in some way, shape, or form. Hopefully this will help your group get the kill on VROL hard mode. Hopefully you guys have a good one. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Keep in mind that I will leave some tips in the description down below. There's not many tips here on this boss, but there are some. Other than that, you guys have a good one again, and we'll see you in the next video.